Yeah, I loved it. I thought Usyk was brilliant. I don't know if you caught Rumi, you know, the YouTube fella. He was talking
I haven't watched it yet. I saw it come up though today, yeah.
He had made a really good point, which I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit because I noticed it earlier on with the cameras. But he was giving out about the camera work by the DAZN guys, saying that whenever one fighter was kind of moved, suddenly they'd be out of shot. And then he also missed like a lot of Usyk's footwork. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting point. But I thought the fight was amazing. Yeah, Usyk was class.
Haven't a few people mentioned that about DAZN though since for quite some time about the camera?
I hadn't noticed it until he mentioned it, but then I saw it kind of today. It was annoying me as well. But
well, if they'd had the camera on Joshua's feet, they wouldn't have fucking missed much.
Treacle-footed, as I would
No, but
describe.
seriously, like obviously I was getting married and all that last week, so I didn't really give much of a chance to break it down. But like just simple stuff against, like you're fighting one of the best southpaws of all time. At least try and get your lead foot on the outside. Like this, he conceded so much mentally and physically during the first 4 rounds, and Usyk was just putting him where he wanted it in the second half of the fight. Like very hard for me to see how Joshua finds a way to win in a rematch here. I know he's we might as well talk about it. He's enacted his rematch clause, hasn't he? Like so, the second fight's going to happen. Is going to come around pretty quick. He's going to have to find so much extra shit to even do something to Usyk, and then you have to think that Usyk is going to be able to be able to adapt in the second fight. So.
See, the thing for me at least was Joshua had no other game plan. See, when he actually started having a wee bit of success, that's when Usyk actually upped it a wee bit more, a bit extra pace, changed his game, being a wee bit more aggressive and that. And then in the end, it was his team who were telling him, like, early doors, look, just lay off, try to go for a knockout, round 12, get out there and get the fucking business done. But that round 7 for me, at least anyway, was a big change for me, at least anyway, because you thought Joshua was maybe starting to come into the fight. He was landing a few sneaky shots at the body and that. You're thinking, all right, you maybe able to slow Usyk down a wee bit here. But no, Usyk just kind of upped it, kept the hands pumping, and had Joshua thinking again and that. So
see,
when you've got a guy who can change it up a wee bit more than what Joshua can, Joshua's got no answers. This
is it. Like it's the adaptability of Joshua. It's like, I guess, like you can go back to the Klitschko fight, but then say did really even he adapting that, or was it just kind of fight or flight? But
battled it.
Yeah, like it's like there's signs like he's been going. Like what they need to work on with him is like, as well as the tactics for the Usyk fight, is what's to do when he's under pressure. Because every time you see him under pressure, he backs up in a straight line. His hands go down. He gets caught up high. He doesn't really. He never holds. Like you think, a guy for his size, he should be at least trying to fight tall and get Usyk and pull his neck down or whatever when he's under fire. But he just backs straight up like. So, like for me, he's a long way off beating Usyk in a rematch.
I'd almost fancy Usyk to stop him in the rematch again.
I think so, Joe. I think so.
You could tell by Usyk's comments after in the hotel with Coogan and that. He used to say, "Listen, Joshua says he can maybe fight you differently," and he says, "Look, so I could fight him differently as well. I can come out and be absolutely aggressive." And just try and take him out. And look, to be honest, you maybe say, look, it's easy to say. I mean, I think you mentioned it last week that Josh has got to be a wee bit more aggressive, take it to him, rough him up, and try and lean on him. But he just hasn't got the tank for it. And I don't think he really wants to go out there and get, put it all on the line, basically. I don't think. I think he's at that point in his life now, actually. He's earned enough. He's got his kid. Why keep going?
And in a way, there's a kind of justice to the boxing gods, even though we want to see big profile fights, but that Fury Joshua fight has evaporated in thin air. I could even go further away next Saturday night. Who knows? Like we never fucking see that fight now. And
Josh was saying, he'll take the fight without the belts and that type of thing.
What the fuck good is that? Like we wanted to see the two of them. Yeah, exactly. Like.
And then on the Friday, he's saying, for example, that when they allow him being the A side to hold up potential talks, this was a guy who actually Eddie actually shortchanged Wilder by a fucking flat fee offer, 12 million way back in the day. And then what happened there? Still couldn't get it over the line. But there we go. That's what it's all about, though. We want to see things getting fucked up.
Round 7, though, Andy, I think that's a good point from you, because Joshua seemed to be coming back into it in the 5th, the 6th, and I think, wasn't it the first minute and a half of round 7 he was doing well, and then Usyk came back right at him, and I think that he lost a bit of heart then, and Usyk then started to take over again in the final third of the fight.
Was that the one he landed a big overhand left in as well?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
Early on in that round.
Yeah. As I say, you can see Joshua really trying to kind of throw shots to the body, step into some of his shots, not setting up his pace slightly a wee bit. But as I say, once Usyk showed him another gear, another level, that listen, here's what I've got, I can still tag you. Josh is like, oh, for Christ's sake, what am I going to do now? So he's got to go back onto, well, obviously the plan was to box, but looks at it. So that's what he's went and done.
What was that about as well, by the way? What was that about? It was like he was learning to dance or something for the first time when he was trying to negotiate his footwork. Honestly, I'm not like taking shots at him. He looked so bad on his feet. Like, why did you try and box Usyk? You're fucking 6'6", man. Like, what the fuck? I don't know. Does anyone think that him and McCracken need to pad? And that's no shots at McCracken for me. I think he's a good trainer, but I think that whole thing needs to be
one of them three, doesn't he, Rob?
They spent years hiding them. They spent years hiding them that he was getting trained by him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
you had to see who come in there with him now, like.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Whoever comes in would probably want to try and change his style a wee bit as well. I would think probably trying to kind of get him fighting
for that now.
Late plot twist, boxer size Ben versus Fury down the line.
What was I going to say, actually? Do you think maybe, Rob, that Joshua got thrown off as to how quick Usyk started? Because he's been known to kind of like have a wee look. But I'll tell you one thing that I also picked up on. I was listening to Peter Fury interview with, I forget who it was with again, actually. He'd been talking to Mick Hennessy before the fight, literally like 5-10 minutes before the first bell on that. And Mick Hennessy was saying to Peter Fury is that he thinks that Usyk deliberately didn't show his full gas or his full repertoire at heavyweight against Chisora, for example, because it might have kind of, you know what I'm saying? It might have given away the game plan. I
don't know if I buy into that. When fellas are in the fucking ring, I don't know if they're thinking that far down the line when there's so much at stake.
You're one punch away from being knocked out there and then, aren't you?
Exactly. He's fighting Joyce as well, so.
Look at how he started, though.
What I would say is, I'd say that Usyk boxed the first 4 rounds thinking the old fucking AJ analysis, like, get him past 6, like, and you're going to drown him, like, do you know what I mean? So just don't let him start. But I think I don't want to go full conspiracy. Behold the pale horse. Here we go. I think the 365 testing. There's been a regression in Joshua since the 365 tested, hasn't there? Like, because he was one of the 5, wasn't he? That wasn't enrolled in the VADA WBC 365. It was him,
skinny, wasn't he?
Canelo. It was him, Canelo, Loma, and somebody else who got popped then afterwards as well. By the way, so I don't know. Like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think since he's lost the muscle, so I think there's been a regression because I think that's his style. Like, and against Usyk, he probably should have been bigger. Just fucking go balls to the wall. If Usyk gets you past 6 and then you drown, whatever. Like, but you did it anyway, trying to box tentatively. Like, go for it. Like,
looking like Christopher Lovejoy.
I was going to say,
his boxing IQ is not great, man. I don't think he has the same kind of natural like as a Fury where he can adapt on the fly and kind of make changes during the fight. I sound like we all made Paulie Malignaggi would make adjustments. It's all about adjustments. But it is like, and I think he hasn't really got that now, especially against Usyk. But don't know if I think he was just bamboozled a bit, like, and I think he was waiting to he's trying to pace himself all the time, I feel, since the Ruiz fight. Like, and to be honest with you, looked like a guy that still hit from the first Ruiz fight. I think he's a bit shy on the gun.
Yeah, definitely. What I was going to say is, though, do you think maybe about Joshua and that because of the pandemic, he's been unable to get these pharmacists because of like the national lockdowns and like the curfews and everything?
Craig said he's been upside down for years, lads. Give him a break. Flipped upside down again last week. Fucking hell, man.
He's got Jesus Christ on his fucking avatar as well.
A good lad.
Lads. Joe, do you want to throw anything in before we quickly bring Ben in? Because he was there last week.
Yeah, I was just going to say just about AJ. I think he lacks that kind of Street Fighter thing that, Manny Stewart used to talk about with Lennox Lewis when he was getting beaten by a certain style or finding it rough. Like, he could kind of turn the fight into a bit of a street fight and just start banging away. And I think AJ, if he is going to win, has to find a way to do that and just start, banging away at arms, legs, whatever he can lay gloves on. But I think Andy's probably right that he just doesn't have the gas tank for that kind of approach. But yeah, really enjoyed the fight last week, and glad I got to jump on for a few minutes today.
It was an interesting, fight week and stuff. The atmosphere and the sort of logistics of it all, it was brilliant. Say what you want about Eddie and the way he does things, but the way Matchroom puts shows on, when it comes to shows of that size, there's nobody else who does it like that. And I can't even think of people in the States who do it like that, you know.
What about this rematch then, Ben? I mean, AJ's going to, trigger the clause and all. Does it go any differently?
I think he's got to, Steve, because if he doesn't, what the fuck does he do? And he looks like a dickhead if he doesn't as well. He's in a shit situation, because if the rematch is in February, it doesn't matter when the rematch is. What can he do to improve his skill set to be able to compete with what Usyk did, last week? It's not really possible. And like we were saying about adopting different tactics and being more aggressive. And I'll be honest with you, I sort of pushed that to a few people last week, because in my head I was thinking that's the only thing he can really do. But people sort of thought it was a bad idea. But my thing, which I mentioned to you in the chat, was when we're talking about McCracken and people saying, oh, should get rid of him, they've got to part ways, is McCracken even choosing the game plan? Do we honestly think Rob McCracken would choose that as the actual game plan? Or is AJ choosing the game plan? He's got 3 people. He's got Angel Fernandez, who's Richard Riakpor's coach as well. He's got him in there. And I've forgotten the name of the other guy, to be honest with you.
Jody or Joby something, is it?
Clayton, something like that. Yeah. I can't believe I've forgotten his name. But yeah, there's a lot of different, people, a lot of different moving parts in that machine. And somewhere along that way, it's changed how he is, but how much of that is him as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I think even if he loses to Usyk again, it doesn't matter. He's going to still have big fights out there. They can make the white rematch. That'll always be a big fight, I think regardless, he'll still have a few fights in him to make a lot of money, and then he'll probably hang them up. He's probably done quite well with his money. And past that rematch, like I said, there's plenty of people out there for him.
Yeah,
I think it's a case of kind of, isn't it, that they build them perfectly, they match them perfectly to a point, and then they get to a point where it gets real, and it's kind of once it gets to that,
it went over that line, and it's like,
look,
you can't milk it anymore.
It got real, and they lose, didn't it? And they didn't expect it.
Yeah.
He's still learning. He's still learning on the job, and that he's only like 21 fights, for example, and that. It just shows you that as well, right? When he came up with that excuse, when he's got all those belts, for example, and they're saying, "Oh, well, he's still learning, etc., etc." So it just shows you how manufactured has been. We've said it all along. If he did not, even his personality, the way he got interviewed, and that he was coached and PR'd to an inch of his life.
Yeah. I mean, and look, fuck me, like you come from criminal background to get to be a multi-fucking millionaire. It's it's a success story no matter what. For him, he overachieved in terms of what he's able to do, I think. And like sometimes the stars align, and Eddie got him at the perfect time, man. Look, Fury was on his hiatus. It was perfect timing. The Sky platform, they fucking rolled him out there, white robe, be humble, man. Look what you could do, knocking out Charles Martin, confetti in the fucking ring. Do you know what I mean? They did such a good job on him, and they made him like a marketer's dream and a money-making machine. So when the call time on his career, he will have had a successful career. And he's probably one of those guys that's going to be able to retire with all his faculties, but he's just short of the mark in terms of great heavyweights, like, isn't he? From Britain and beyond.
The Java Larry Holmes,
Eddie pulled a stroke, didn't he, with Charles Martin? Like, because Joshua was high up, he saw the Glasgow, his knee went basically. Martin was shit. He was like an accidental champion. Then he got him the fight and then made those defenses and all. That was a stroke from Eddie. Like, I don't blame him.
It wasn't just Eddie, it was Eddie in main events, because main events, I'm sure, had one of the fighters come in.
They had Glasgow, didn't they?
I think that's who it was.
Well, we talk all the time about margins. About margins, and if fucking Glasgow's ligaments hadn't given out, we might have never seen this fucking AJ hype train. You know what I mean?
That's right, because Glasgow was supposed to Fury was supposed to defend against Glasgow, wasn't he? Fury said he wasn't going to do it. Then the belt became vacant. Glasgow fought Martin. I think that was the timeline. And then AJ obviously picked up Martin's belt. But James Winder said it would be nice if AJ could do a fight in Nigeria, then come back for Usyk 2, get that win. But then he says FA after he ices old man Sanchez. I am not a proponent of FA Jagba whatsoever, but I tell you what, I would be worried for Joshua in that fight, because Jagba is basic as hell, but that dude can punch, man. And if he lands, I think that he could be in for a rude awakening, AJ. Like,
Yeah, but AJ would have Dr. Joseph Ajayo in his corner if it's in Nigeria. So
Joseph doesn't like a Jagba. He's not on a Jagba.
Jagba is stiff as fuck, man.
He is, but he can punch like hell, man. It's going to be a roller coaster ride for him, I think.
I tell you what, if that was the hat, mate, okra soup, aye. Got me some gear and that stuff like okra soup. Fucking hell.
The other thing is,
that's why he's stiff as anything. He's a fucking okra soup.
Go on, Ben.
I was just going to say the other thing is with situations like this, it's not like he has that ability in that contract. He's got to take that rematch now, or that's it, you know. So if he's not, he can't do a go. There's no go betweens in this. It's either he takes it or he doesn't take it, as far as I'm aware, anyway. So if he's activated it, then that's that, you know. And I think that's the best thing for him, really, because like I said before, I don't see what he can change really that's going to get around that. Usyk's just too much. I'm the only person at heavyweight that beats Usyk.
Because of the machine he is as well, and the size of the business that he is, there's no warm-up fight. Like, he has to go straight to the rematch, pay-per-view and everything. Like, he can't take a fucking warm-up fight. Like, he has to go straight for the fucking gusto.
Yeah. There's folk telling him not to take the rematch, though. But what does he do? Well, for example, Gareth Davis, for example. Yeah, I know it's not a big opinion or whatever on that, but you know, he's saying it. I think Jamie Moore's been saying it as well, possibly. I think I've seen some comments today for him. He's got nowhere else to go, really. I mean, unless he's willing to take the look, he then start talking about A sides and B sides and the money and that. Look, there's fights to be made, obviously, but and here we're going to see how much the belts would actually would they mean to him basically as well, because obviously there's some fighters who transcend the belts. Is he winning them? We'll wait and see, because if he loses to Usyk in the rematch, it's Jesus Christ, man. It's a total rebuild. It's a total comeback.
I think if he loses to Usyk, Eddie bails on boxing.
Nah, that Dillian White rematch, man. That's still in the bank. I think they're going to make that before he retires. I honestly do, because that would transcend the belts. He's still got enough credit in the bank for the casuals to lap that up, I think.
Yeah, big time.
They're making Chisora Parker too. They definitely do fucking AJ White.
100%.
AJ Chisora, man. We haven't seen that yet, have
we?
Unless
that's another thing as well. that can be a comeback when he loses to Usyk.
We haven't seen AJ David Hay. Don't fucking rule that one.
David Hay carrying his sparring partner. It was a pal. Fucking what's his name?